Hello, I'm Brigantia, Blackbird of Blackbird's Brew. Happy Thursday and welcome to Witch Life, your path, and today we're going to talk about pursuing your strengths. In this series in particular, quite often we discuss topics that focus on things that are difficult for us to do or involve overcoming obstacles of some kind. But today we get a break and we're going to talk about cultivating our talents and skills that we have a natural aptitude for, because it is a huge relief when we discover what we're actually good at. I mean, no practitioner is a stranger to adversity, and no matter what form of craft someone practices, it is admittedly a difficult road to travel. You have to believe it's worth it, and knowing that you're good at some stuff, at least at the start, helps you persevere. Now, this is one of the reasons why some people decide that the craft just isn't for them after an initial fascination, investigation, and then they move on to other spiritual paths, often other pagan paths, which is fine. But this is also the reason why some witches are considered to be gluttons for punishment, because we weren't simply content with being pagan and occasionally indulging in a bit of folk magic. Oh no. No. We had to go the extra mile and become walkers between the worlds with all of the difficulties that entails. So, let's talk about some things that are not difficulties in our paths. What is it that seems to come naturally to you, at least as far as the craft is concerned? What strengths have you discovered along the way? Because you probably have found that some concepts, ideas just clicked a little bit faster for you, or some particular practices just came a little bit more naturally to you, or if you're very lucky, you read about something, you learned, like, oh, well, that just is very similar to what I've always just kind of naturally, intuitively done, only now I can do it with intention and have more energetic oomph behind it. Now, these strengths could be anything from divination, healing work, moving energy during rituals and spells, crafting charms, meditation, connecting with the gods, animal totems, ancestors, teaching, storytelling. Any and everything that comes within a witch's scope may have become one of your strongest suits. Now, once you've identified, say, your top 5 areas of your practice, the question then becomes, what would it mean to take those things that you're good at and then bring them up to the next level? Or how could you go about getting more in depth with it? Now, brainstorming about this hopefully will fire up your enthusiasm, because you can go into this process with great confidence. You're already good at the thing. Now you're just honing, refining, and getting even better. And that's wonderful. And it's not as high of a mountain to climb as it is when we're approaching tasks that we know, like, okay, this isn't coming naturally, but it's a useful witchy skill, so I'm going to take that one step at a time. This is something like, oh, we're already 3/4 way up the mountain. A little bit more effort, a little bit of time, and we can get ourselves right up to that peak. And we can find out, just how high and how well we can really do something. And I think it's a good idea to focus on our strengths during the times when we feel like we're just crashing up against a wall, we aren't making progress, and we're just kind of feeling bad about where we're at in our practice. I mean, I'm not sure if there's anyone who is completely immune from that experience. If there is, I haven't met them yet. So I think this is something that we all have to contend with. And discouragement is a natural feeling from time to time, especially if we're just plodding away at something and we can't see any immediate progress. So we need to remind ourselves about what it was that made us fall in love with the craft to begin with. What made it worth it for us to even get this far, and what do we still love about it? Rediscovering that love can really provide us with the necessary fuel we need to not only, work on the things where we have weaknesses, but also to say, you know what? I want to take what I'm good at and I want to make it more. I want to go from someone who's an adept and I want to go on to mastery. I want to go on to where I could be a very useful teacher, at least about this one particular thing. Now, our confidence can be shaken if we look too much at our faults or areas of weaknesses within the craft. But if we actively pursue our strengths, that will build up our spirits, which is vital to every aspect of our success with witchcraft. But it also helps keeps those difficulties we face in their proper place. They represent a moment in time, and that moment will not last forever, and that moment can be overcome. And these are the times when developing our natural strengths can unexpectedly give us insight on how to address our weaknesses. So you never know what you might discover that will help you um, benefit yourself or apply yourself a little bit more effectively in another area, because it's all interwoven and interconnected. And of course, the longer we walk that path, the more we see just how multifaceted all of our bits of knowledge and skills and practices really are. It's a gigantic spider web. So, hopefully, this will encourage you to spend a little bit of time meditating on what your strengths are and how you can make the most of them. And maybe along the way, as time goes on, you'll even discover strengths you never even knew you had. Who knows? But let me know in the comments section below, or come to me on Discord at Blackbird's Brew. There's a link to join in the description box below. And if you want to get into a little bit more specifics about how you might want to hone your particular strength, I would love to have that conversation here. I realize today's video is very general, but let's face it, we all have different strengths and weaknesses with the craft, and it would be impossible to categorize how to develop strengths in each and every possible area. So if you want to have a little bit more of an in-depth discussion, just come see me on Blackbird's Brew. Happy to have you. But I think that will do it for today. Now, next week, we will be talking about shoring up our weaknesses, but again, I'll try to keep it on a more upbeat and uplifting note, because we can overcome our challenges. I mean, we, of all people, witches can overcome considerable challenges. And I want to make sure that I'm promoting a mindset that's more about solve the problem, address the issue, make something happen, be able to do the work, and go on. So I hope you'll be back for that, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.